wheeling around. Lucky cut, G. So you guys that don't know, there's been quite a bit of illness go through here this week. I am convinced that Trent is dead.
It's not.
We hope Trent isn't
Nick's
dead.
pretty crook.
Yeah, Nick sounded like death yesterday when she came in.
She looks like death. So yeah, Trent's had some bloke cream on the top of his head and now he's got a headache, so. What the fuck?
It's either a wind chime or it's some BDSM thing.
Yeah, it's like a
Like a whip.
old man's wind chime.
You could use them as a wind chime? No, you couldn't.
Why do you gotta
have
have
a tin can to put them inside? Yeah.
So Bill's actually here with some old shit tonight. We're talking about a couple of new shit, and but unfortunately I'm not going to know as much about the product side of things because I've been out the back all week. So I finished off that carbon fibre barrel 303 300 mag that I built on a Lithgow, or a modern Lithgow, LA102. So I finished that off for a client. Filed down some sights. Not much else.
No?
What'd you do?
Made a triangular
Muzzle cap. Yeah,
That
that
was
was
VCR Remington.
yeah. In my CNC, which is pretty cool. But what else have you been up to this week?
I can't
Shotgun.
remember on an old one.
Shotguns, Lee Speed, 2.5 inch 410.
Into a 3-inch
Oh,
410.
fucking hotted it up.
Hollowed it up,
Yeah.
I'll say. God. But that turned out nice. What else did I do? Did I do anything?
Fuck off. I know there's a pump action in there you were dicking around with, that old Remington or something. Pump action.
Winchester.
Oh, I fitted a couple of Picatinny rails to various things.
Yeah. You had a Morocco shotgun that had rooted barrels, so you put a new set of barrels on it and then it wouldn't cock. So you put the old barrels back on it and it still wouldn't cock.
So I've still got to.
And then you would fuck around and get that.
That'll make that work, yeah. But anyway, I just thought I'd show people a little bit of a selection of the bits and pieces that I've collected over the years, and a lot of parts for money for Enfields of different types. Plenty of pull-throughs, original pull-throughs, brass weight on them and everything. Oil bottles, various oil bottles, different makes, orange, don't know where that one was made. Another Aussie one with a stamp, with the Aussie star. That one's AO for Orange, New South Wales. Got quite a few of those, various things. Did I bring a number 1 magazine here? I thought I did.
It is a number 1 magazine.
That is a number 1 magazine. I was just testing to see if you knew. Did I bring a number 4
Oh, does it
mag?
not have the... Oh yeah, no, it's got the spring on it.
Yeah, it's got the
No, you don't have a number 4 mag.
I thought I bought a number 4 as well. No, obviously I left it behind.
I'm going to get you a number 4 mag. You explain the difference.
Yeah, well, that'll... But in here, one of my treasure boxes, sight bodies, leaves for the sights, Sears, number 1 Mark III Sears, number 1 Mark III intermediate bands, either in the black or the brass that the Lithgow were quite keen on making later in the war. They turn out quite nice. They make a smart looking gun. If you're cleaning up the wood,
Well, you're number 4.
brass offsets,
And then also got a number 1, but with a chain on it.
yeah, that's an real early one. Got no little anti-rattle spring on it. That's an early number 1 magazine. Got a link here, and they had a little chain link that hooked it up to the bottom of the trigger guard, so you could drop the magazine out to clean the gun or whatever you needed to do, but you couldn't actually lose it, because the Pommy generals who were in charge of manufacturing and distributing equipment and arms to their troops were paranoid about blokes losing things.
But we're talking before World War One
this
period.
is prior to World War One. These were like from about 1890 onwards. They started doing this, and then they dropped it in World War One. They made it. They thought, well, it'd be handy for the boys to have a spare magazine, so they did away with the chain and let people over there have a spare mag.
Plus, I can't imagine dangling chains would be a great thing to have.
No, catching on things,
Catching on stuff,
full of
and
mud and things like that.
expensive to make, noisy.
Yeah. There's just a little bit of a history lesson about the magazines. This is an early one, and it fits in the magazine well. This is a bit later one, number 1 magazine. This is a number 1 Mark III mag. It's got a little leaf spring on it, so when you push it in, it holds the magazine forward and up and stops it rattling when you're wandering along. But then bean counters got involved and said, no, you don't want that, this is all you need. So the number 4 mag has just got a ramp and a catch for the magazine catch to hang on to, and who cares about whether it rattles or not. Just don't run quite as fast, boys. But got quite a few number 4 mags, some new ones. It's amazing what turns up new at times. But lots of front sight assemblies with and without the blades in them. Got heaps of the little blades, front sight blades, firing pins. Oh, and something you won't see very often, the original 22LR firing pin and bolt head. I got both types. I got the later type where the firing pin is a separate little part in the bolt head, and they chop the original firing pin off there, and it falls against the little firing pin that's inside, captive inside the bolt head to set the round off. But there's a few of them. Springs, more firing pins. What have we got in the other treasure box? Oh, and here, rear sight, ear protection ears, screws, gone. Quite often they're missing. Bolt, number 1 bolt heads.
Yeah, but you sold all your long ones, haven't you?
No,
Oh, did you find some?
got heaps of long ones there. Brand new. This is number 2 Mark IV 22LR bolt head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Brand new one. Don't ask me where they come from, I can't remember. The original striker design that the early striker design, that's the later one. Much easier to make, no doubt, than trying to make something like that. And God knows why they made it full round on that side and partially not on that side. They baffle me quite often, the old manufacturers. But yeah, I've got a few of those. What else? Swing swivels, lots and lots of different screws, anywhere on the gun. On the rifle, I've got plenty of different screws.
Typically, what threads did Lee Enfield use?
Enfield threads. No. BA, BSF, and their own Enfield.
Why?
Because that's what the general said to use. They had plenty of bolts left over, probably from a previous bloody warship or something that didn't float.
Yeah.
What's
What's BA?
What's it stand for? British something or other?
British Airways.
No, I don't think so. That was
Probably not.
later on it was British Airways. I can't remember. But it's the metric you have when you're not having a metric. Because it's very close, the threads are very close to metric. In dimensions and stuff, but they're not. But they used, like in the Singer sight, they used a BA thread for the elevation on the screw on the Singer sight.
What are the screws on the bands and main screws and that sort of shit.
The main screw in thing is BSF.
BSF, yeah.
Quarter BSF is the front guard screw.
What's the big long one in the back?
Whitworth. Just to be different.
So one of the screws that holds the trigger guard in is BSF and the other one's Whitworth.
Oh no, sorry, the little tiny one. I think
The one that goes through the guard.
Yeah, through the guard horizontally. I think that's BSF too.
Oh, okay.
But that's a small one. The front, that's only
And the barrel bands are BSF?
no, I think they're Enfield.
Right.
33 1/3 TPI. Of course, you know, that's a common TPI, isn't it? No?
Dumb.
Isn't it? Anyway, that was the sort of thing that I don't know why they did. They had such a conglomeration. They actually had the armourer's kit had a little plate, and it had all the threads drilled and tapped into this plate. It was a little about 8 thick, and had all the threads tapped in it that you would have on the firearm, on the rifle, and then they hardened the plate so it actually became a die.
Like a proof or something.
Yeah, like a proofing die. So if you had a poor thread on a bolt or a screw out of the gun, you could just screw it into the right hole, screw it right in and out, and clean the thread up.
No, it's like swage the thread.
Yeah, it sways the thread back to where it was, yeah.
Until the plate gets fucked out and then...
Well, they hardened it. It was made out of a high carbon
because
steel.
it's hardened, I suppose.
It
but
probably
everything
is.
fucks out eventually.
Yeah. Here, in this little box, is quite a few P14 M17 parts. And this is a bit of a rarity, this. It's an action... I came in a box of bits and pieces. And it's a P14 action that's been... Once upon a time, it was a sniper rifle. There's the two screws for the rear mount. I've made that front mount, but the screw holes were in the front for the front mount. And it either never got finished or it got stripped at some stage. Funnily
So
enough,
who made that action?
this one is Winchester.
Oh, so it's an American...
Yeah, it's
P14.
P14.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it was 303. Your screwdriver?
Not on me, not handy, no. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just going to show people the serial number. You can tell by the serial number who made it.
There's a W at the front.
Yeah, it's got a W in front of the serial number. And funny enough, that was in one box, and in another box of rubbish that I got from the same place was a few stripped bolts. No parts in them at all. And would you believe it, it's a matching bolt to the action.
Well, that never happens.
Yeah. So,
So they were made by Winchester.
Yeah.
So they just all be Imperial threads on them?
yes,
would've
they are.
standardised.
These are SAE threads, except a barrel thread, which is a square thread.
Right. What diameter?
Oh, God, no. I can't remember what they are.
So they'll use everything else as standard,
Yeah.
and then why they use a square thread for the fucking barrel thread?
I have no idea. Oh, probably because they used it on the Springfield back in about 1888 or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And they
They're
decided
still tooled up for it.
they're all tooled up for it, so they thought, well, why would we throw that good lathe away and start again? You know? But there you go. There's the serial number. It starts with a W.
Has that had some heat in it?
Yeah.
Did they put heat into it to soften it so they can get the screw holes in?
No, I don't think so. I think it had a broken screw in it, and that someone had tried to get it out, but they haven't been very successful because the remains of it are still in there.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Because that's you could soften that action by doing that.
Yeah,
Now the lugs could sit back.
I think you're a bit far away from it. But anyway, there you go. But completely. But in here is
You distort that front ring. You have to bait the barrel with a flat on it so it fucking...
so I'll go in there. Yeah, I've got quite a few bits and pieces, Eddystone, Winchester and Remington parts for P14. Enough to make a couple of rifles up most likely.
Trap butt plate.
Yeah, proper butt plate for it. I've got everything bar wood. I don't have any timber for P14. There's extractors.
What's that drawing?
That's a drawing I made of of the front and rear sniper, this telescope bases.
Yeah, right.
So I might make one up one day. I made that piece up. So, but there's magazine boxes, both 303 and 3006. More bolts. Some of these parts are brand new.
That one looks brand new, doesn't
Yeah. 303, that one, P14.
You going home or what? Have you shut the computer down?
Yep.
Can you shut that cabinet up? Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, lots and lots of bits and pieces. Intermediate bands that go on the old light.
So what's that?
That is the tool for removing the firing pin out of a number 1 Mark III.
So with the number 1 Mark III, the bolt heads are threaded in.
Yes.
And they're all made to time up.
Yes.
How'd they get them to time up?
God knows. That's
Anyway, so they time up.
one of life's little secrets, yeah.
So you take the bolt head out, and then you put that screw in the front and unscrew the firing pin out through the front of the bolt.
Yeah. After you've taken the
set screw out.
locking screw.
Or maybe not. Maybe just leave it there and
wrench on this,
and wreck it.
put a pipe on here.
So where'd you get that?
I made that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is that the best handle that you could find at the time?
It was, yeah. I was looking through his scrap bin at work and I thought, well, that's actually a pretty tough bolt. It's a bloody through bolt that holds the alternator together. I just chopped it off.
On what?
Oh, on a Bosch alternator or something off the top.
Hang on, I think we've had a malfunction here. Do you know what's going on, Zane? I was grabbing your stylus out. Do you know what to press?
Just hit the screen.
Hit the screen?
There's nothing, yeah. Just
Where there's nothing. Yeah, there we are. We're back.
We're back. So you got a bolt that holds the alternator out on a Bosch distributor.
What? No, Bosch.
Alternator.
Yeah, the through bolts that hold the whole carcass together, yeah.
And you use that as the handle for your tool that you made. So how old is that tool?
More than 30 years old.
Right.
It's undone. It hasn't done bad. It's undone a fair few bloody 303 firing pins, I can tell you.
Yeah, but it's a very specific tool.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. So also here we've got some broken case extractors. I'm just assuming that's 303.
Yeah, that's right.
This one, 303, one 303.
Yeah.
What are these?
These are headspace gauges that I made up.
Oh, you made them as well?
Yeah, about 30 odd years ago or more.
So you've got a go, a no-go, and a condemn.
Yeah. If the condemn gauge goes in and the bolt shuts on it, then do not fire the rifle.
It's proper fucked, as we like to say.
It's well
technical term.
Technical term is it's fucked, yeah. And I don't know if you noticed.
But you put slots on them so you don't break extractors off.
That's right. The Enfield instruction book tells you to remove the extractor when you check the headspace with the gauges. And I said, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
So I just grind a flat on it, put it in and line it up with an extractor groove, and you don't have to worry about it. Takes a bit less time. These are gauges made by Central, I'd assume. I'm pretty sure one of them's got Central written on it somewhere. For gauging a 303 barrel. You could put them on you got a thread on them, you screw them onto a Parker Hale cleaning rod, which was all the go in 30 or 40 years ago, all the big bore shooters, or 303 shooters they were in those days. 30 years ago? No,
40 years ago?
40
years ago? 60 years ago?
Yeah, 50 or 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, funny enough.
It's 2021.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So, yeah, when I started shooting 303s, I was 16. And I thought, Jesus, this is a noakes game. Anyway, it was good fun. But yeah, in those days it was all Parker Hale gear, and these screwed onto a Parker Hale rod, and you could carefully oil them up first and put some oil in the barrel. Put these through your barrel and find out how worn the barrel is. And unless you bought a new barrel last week, it was going to be pretty worn usually.
So they're different gauges.
They're different sizes. They go from 302 up to about 306.
See you, Ross.
And, when you get to 306, they don't shoot. 303s don't shoot very well.
You start using 8mm bullets.
Yeah, yeah. You could just about, yeah. And this is a modern version, and these are definitely made by Central. They got their name stamped on the end. These are for 308, but they're still threaded for Parker Hale. So
this one's got Tatlow, Tatlow.
Oh no, well
Tatlow.
That's English, I think. Yeah.
Because they've got central root, right?
No, these have certainly got central on them, and these go from .299 to .3005. So you can.
Same sort of thing, but for 30 cal.
Yeah, but for 30 cal, 308s and 3006s and various others like that. Yeah.
And they're made to screw on or cleaning on as well.
Yeah, the same thing. No, maybe.
Where did you get all this crap?
I have no idea. I just collected it over the years. So people come in and say, "Oh, I'm getting out of big bore shooting," usually in his Zimmer frame, and says, "I'm getting out of big bore shooting. I want to get rid of all this stuff. Give me $12 and I'll go home," or something like that. This is the gauge I made myself before I was lucky enough to come across all this stuff. And this is turned and ground to 303 exactly, measured with a micrometer.
You ground it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Would you have a tool and cut a grinder or something?
No, I probably made something, you know.
Made a jig up to specifically to grind that?
Yeah, just to,
is it hardened or?
No. So, but I have measured it recently and it hasn't worn.
We should probably make a hardened version.
Yeah. Anyway, the same thing, just put this through the barrel, you can tell.
Usually, if it falls through, if you go to push it in and there's a little tight spot, and then you give it a bump and it just goes straight through the barrel, it's fucked.
Yeah, well and good. But it's a good, when I first made it, the indicator was how worn the throat was. Usually, you could just put this in and it'd go into the throat maybe 50 mil, and you could say, well, mate, it's getting pretty worn.
Pretty knackered.
Yeah, so, and then put it in the muzzle end, and usually it won't go in the muzzle end. The old 303s were usually fairly tight when they were made, but unfortunately, using military ammo in them, they didn't last that long if you didn't keep them clean after every shoot. That, funny enough, it was a screwdriver with a plastic handle, and it's a reverse screwdriver for loosening off the little clamping screw on the number 4 front sight. You can loosen the sight assembly on the front of a number 4. It stands up about 12 mil, and then it's got the little blade in the top, which is windage adjustable, and they slot the assembly. So when you can slide this leaf in by hand, and then you tighten the screw up and it clamps it in the dovetail. And the idea is you can just loosen this, adjust the windage, tighten it up again. You know, you don't have to take the ears off like you do on the number 1.
The dovetail is actually angled, isn't it?
No, not on that.
No, I thought they were like at 45 degrees.
No, that's on a couple of other guns use that. I think the Springfield 03 uses that idea. No, I think the number 4s is
just straight across.
Right, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, and fun, you know, the poor old thing, I kept it out of,
Because you don't fucking throw anything
No, I
away.
don't throw anything away, no, you're right.
That's why he likes Enfields.
The plastic handle gave up after 45 or 50 years or something.
Maybe we should make a new handle for it.
Yeah, I think that's what I've been toying with the idea of.
You could just make a new tool. You've got like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of bloody machining and equipment out there.
We could, yeah. And this is the original throat gauge that I...
Who made it?
I'm trying to see. I don't know.
No, I can't see the name on
It just says 303 Lee, which is the lead, what we call the throat nowadays. The Polish call it the lead into the rifling, from the neck to the rifling. Yeah. And this is an original one, could probably come out of a Bren gun kit, or may have come out of a maintenance Ramey kit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but they're handy tools. You can never ever have enough tools.
And you've got it in a cigarette tin.
Yeah, that's how cigarettes used to come in. Buy a cigarette, go to the tobacconist.
There's no photos of dying cancer patients or.
No, not on that one. It's a bit too old for that. But all the new cigarette packets have cancer patients.
Oh no, don't be silly. In those days, you didn't get cancer from tobacco.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for you. Yeah.
Soothe the lungs.
Yeah, that's right. So
Just like vaping's good for you.
yeah, this was Benson and Hedges Super Virginia cigarettes. How about that, eh? They didn't have a name for the cigarette, Virginia.
Mm. Was that where it was made or something?
Yeah, Virginia was in the US.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I just, being silly.
Sure. You got any other crap?
I don't think so. No, just
You've gone through that crap down there, haven't you?
yeah, I've gone through that. Yeah,
All right.
that's good stuff. It's all good stuff.
All right. Well, if you went through 2 tins of crap a week, we've probably got enough content until you die.
But that's only providing he doesn't get more.
We've probably got a good 15 to 20 years of shit to go through.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All good stuff. I'll tell you.
I mean, we've got 40 people.
Senile before we get through it all.
We've got 40 people watching, so I mean, people must like this stuff.
Well, it's interesting because you don't see this sort of crap all the time. Yeah, it's like it takes many years to accumulate this quantity of shit.
It does.
I remember. I don't know. You probably remember as well. I remember down at Nangra when I was a kid. Down in the bottom, the extension that you built on the side of the house.
Yeah, that's right.
Down on the floor,
Yeah.
on a blanket,
Yeah.
sorting out 303 ammo.
Yeah.
You'd bought a fucking great big bucket of 303 ammo,
Yeah.
and we tipped it up, and I had to sort it into Footscray or Welsh Pool or fucking wherever else the ammo came from. What's this one? Oh, that's a Pakistani one. Just put it over here and put it over there. What's this one? Oh, that's a real early Mark 1 round, you know. And I'll put that over there and fucking sort all these.
Well, that big box of ammo came from off a station somewhere up in Murchison, and an old friend of mine, Tommy Marin, had.
I know the name.
Yeah, his son is poor guy that got caught in encephalitis. He was a copper and up in Kununurra, I think, caught in encephalitis.
How do you catch encephalitis?
Mosquito.
Oh, right. Was it blood-borne, but
Yeah.
gets into your brain like a meningitis or something like that?
Yeah. Anyway, Tommy must have, I think in those days, he was like a bit like Ty's dad. He'd go around all the stations, probably in those days it was sheep, I think, because Tommy was pretty keen on sheep. He wasn't a Kiwi either, for that matter.
She was wanting for the meat.
Yeah. Anyway, he came across a 303 or 2 and heaps and heaps of ammunition that was lying around the place at different places. Anyway, he put it all together, and then one day he said to me, "Oh, Bill, do you want this?" And I said, "Yes, Tom, I'll take it off your hands."
Yes.
And that's where, we ended up back there and spread it all out. There must have, I think there was something like 500 or 600 rounds. All different headstands, year dates, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Bloody amazing. There was some incendiaries and
Yeah, I was going to say there was some bloody incendiaries or tracer or whatever they were.
I can't remember. They all were different, yeah.
Yeah, because they
both.
painted tips and stuff.
I shouldn't say it, but I've got one there that turned up that's an explosive round. But I don't know where.
You probably want to get rid of that.
I don't know where it is. Yeah.
One day you'll go, "What's this?" You'll pick it up and it'll fucking go off.
Maybe.
It'll be like a white phosphorus round or something.
Well, funny you should say
flashing.
that. In my early shooting days, I remember getting the AA mag in those days, and in there was a cautionary article about all that, military ammo, and telling people just do not in your home take ammunition apart, whatever it happens to be. And the same thing applies nowadays. Don't take ammunition apart for a lot of reasons, but one of them is even if it's inert, fairly inert, you spill powder, it becomes a fire hazard.
There's a lot of reasons not to fuck it up.
But especially military ammo, and if there's any colour coding on it, treat it with
Very amount of care.
a lot of care, because they gave an example of a guy who was pulling 303 ammo with a pair of pliers, and he crushed one and it went bang, and I don't know, I can't remember whether he lost fingers or hands or eyes or whatever, but I know it was an explosive round. And I'm not sure, but I don't know how careful the military were in those days about when they sold surplus ammo.
I don't think they were terribly careful.
I don't think they were terribly careful.
I don't think they gave a shit.
Because
Because the story that you told me, and you pick up from when you remember the story, you told me a story about a guy who was a gunsmith down at Katanning, back when 303s were lent out to the clubs.
Yeah.
So they weren't owned by people, they were owned by but people used to just take them home.
Yeah.
And he was walking home with his old man from the rifle range, and a kangaroo jumped out on the road down in front of him. And so he said, all right, and they put one round in the magazine, he shut the bolt and took a shot at this kangaroo, and it was a tracer round, and it went straight past the kangaroo and about a couple hundred metres down the road and set fire to the set fire to the bush.
Stubble paddock, And he was,
He had to
sprint down there and belt it out with a green branch, and so, and I know there was lots of tracer ended up in rifle clubs, whether deliberately or accidentally, I don't know, but
Just probably no one could be stuffed, sorting it all out.
checking it out, But because in those days, like in the late 60s when I started shooting 303s, you went to the rifle club and they had a sort of a locked up shed that might have had 5 or 6 crates, the big wooden boxes, flip top boxes of 303 ammo, and you were doled out, because it was a defence range, you weren't allowed to take ammo off the range, technically, or even empty cases for that. But you would be doled out 12 or 22 rounds or 24 rounds or whatever you were going to shoot that day, and that was it. And they cost you, I remember the first time I went to a range, it cost me 2 shillings to shoot that day, for ammunition, early in the morning.
Is that a lot of money or? No, it's fuck all.
Well, it was a fair amount of money to me. I was earning £5.5 a week. $10.50 a week. And I paid £4 a week in board. I was living away from home. So I wasn't living very high on the hop, I can tell you.
No.
But things improved in second year apprenticeship. I went up to £7.5. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
£2 for piss money.
50% pay rise almost.
Yeah.
They must have thought I was a great bloke.
That's it. Cool. No dramas.
No dramas?
Got anything else to talk about as far as
really.
Next week you can bring out your boxes of fucking Moors shit.
Yeah, I'll bring out all the Moors crap that I've got.
Yeah, fair enough. Alright.
We should send a cheerio to Trent.
Oh, I already told him he's dead. Yeah. I'm convinced he's passed away by now. I'm waiting for the invitation to his funeral. No, I'm pretty sure Trent will be back on Monday.
Oh yeah. Why? I thought, you reckon he was pretty crook early in the week.
Yeah, he's been sending me a message every morning.
Oh yeah.
Give me an update about how he's going. Not that I asked, but But no, he sent me a message this morning. He's still got a really bad headache. But I think it's because he had a cold. Like my missus had a cold. He had a cold. Me and Bill are a bit too tough for that.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah.
No, I had a couple of half days off earlier in the week. But I didn't want to leave you and Ross here to fuck everything up. But
we could do that without any trouble.
that's right. That's my worry. But yeah, he's got a bad headache because of the cream on the top of his head.
Yeah.
So.
But the problem is he's a rugby player. The rugby players are like soft as a pensioner's turd, you know. I reckon if he was an AFL player, he'd be back at work last Wednesday.
Yeah, he'd probably be 6'2" or something if he was an AFL player, because he'd still have a neck. You know, running headlong into other big, ugly-looking blokes.
Yeah,
crushed his head down into between his shoulder blades, and yeah.
Poor old Trent. No, we shouldn't take the piss out of him.
Yeah, we should.
We're good to get him back here.
Yeah, he might not come back if you keep saying stuff about him.
No, I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be able to find another place to work that doesn't take the piss out of him.
I don't know.
No, that's not my point. Like, it doesn't matter where he goes, people are going to hang shit on him. He should be used to it, whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and not only that, he's a Queenslander.
Well, that's true. Was he in Queensland? Was he born in Queensland?
I think so.
I know he lived in Ipswich, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if he was born in Queensland or if he was born in New South Wales.
I suppose it's another thing we can hang shit off him for, I guess.
No, Maroon. He goes for the Maroon, so he was probably born in Queensland.
Yeah. I know they spent a fair bit of time there, I think.
Yeah.
But good on him. Anyway.
We've got some guns to talk about.
Yeah.
So this is something that Ross put together. So this is a Ticker T3X in 223 with a Varmint 1 in 8 twist barrel, and he's put it into a MDT XRS chassis. So these are the ones with the alley chassis with the skins on the outside, so they're not cold to pick up. A lot of the chassis that you get nowadays, like, you know, the pistol grip will be plastic, but then or rubber, but then that rest of the chassis is bare, and you touch it at night and they are freezing cold. So,
Or conversely, you leave it in the sun,
yeah, they get really
they get hot. You don't want to put your face on it.
Yeah, so
And I think MDT are doing a front shroud for the XRS chassis now, where you take the fore end off, and it's a new fore end that encloses the barrel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, I'm looking at it now. I can see. I didn't realise that it was a separate part. But
Yeah, I didn't either until I looked at the web page.
it slides over. I can see that.
Yeah, so let us know if you want one of those.
That's cool because they're not very expensive. Yeah, they're like $7.95 or something like
Yeah.
that. So they're pretty cheap. One of them. Then we've got the Adlers. So you'll know that the Adlers now you can get them with a 7-shot magazine. This is the all-weather, but what we've done with this one, we've got the all-weather, which has normally got a standard buttstock, and put the pistol grip buttstock on it. So if you've got an all-weather, you can buy this buttstock. It's a couple $100. Otherwise, we've got an all-weather here on the shelf with the pistol grip on it. So, because I know there's a lot of people have been asking about it. So. Yeah, they just make them a lot easier to handle. And then this one, okay, so what we've had happen is we've had quite a few people over a number of years all come to us with the same issue, which is that they've got a Savage rifle in a chassis and it's very erratic. Now, we diagnosed the problem, and what it is that at the rear of the receiver, you've got a main screw that holds the receiver into the stock, into the chassis. So you've got one at the front of the magazine, one here about halfway down. So where that one there is just in front of the trigger, and it goes through the chassis into the action. So the problem is that because it's so close to the trigger, the chassis, they can't support all the way around that bolt. Yeah, they can't support the action all the way around. And when you do this screw up, what it actually does is it pulls the back of the action down, actually bows the action down. So this screw pulls it down nicely onto the alley chassis. This one pulls it down and tightens it down at the back, bows the action and kicks the barrel up. And that makes them very erratic because that's not a consistent thing. You can't rely on it to be consistent. And they shoot all over the place, usually up and down to the left and down to the right like And so Bill's managed to, we fixed another one. Bill managed to fix this one, and then you fixed another one as well.
Yeah.
We've just got to test this one, but we're pretty sure that we've got a, like this is an endemic problem to Savage Model 10s and 110s and that sort of stuff in chassis. So that's how we fixed the problem.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a fix, and it means that people out there who've got Savage rifles who have a accuracy like erratic accuracy will be able to fix it.
HS3 precision stock
Or a chassis, yeah.
chassis. Yeah.
So, do you reckon it's just the Savage chassis, or do you think MDT chassis will be like that?
No, like anything for a Savage action.
Yep.
So a Savage Model 10 or 110.
Okay.
You potentially have that issue. But they don't have that problem on the Axis. So the design of the Axis trigger, there's actually a bigger gap between the magazine and the trigger on an Axis, and so they can get a full support around that screw, so it pulls it down. So you've got a Savage Axis, not a problem. It's only the Model 10s and 110s and that sort of stuff. Model 11s, 14s, that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But this one's been fixed, and this is a 300 mag. This is one of the original the designs from Savage that caused the outcry by the police and got all these sort of stuff banned, and now they've reversed that decision in the last year, and you can have them again. But this one we cut down to 20 inch. No, we put a new barrel in it, in 20 inch, custom muzzle brake, all that sort of jazz.
Certainly looks very scary. Is that the same kind of chassis that you anodised to be like red or purple or something?
Similar, yeah.
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 Because we've got one of those in 7 or Rem Mag, I think.
Yeah, I've got to rebarrel it.
Oh,
No
just,
one wants it.
just needs a magazine catch on it.
Yeah, I've got that there somewhere.
What is it?
Oh, it's a Model 11, like pencil thin barrel in one of these chassis.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to put a new barrel in it, in like 300 PRC or
Yeah. 6.5 Creedmoor.
it's a Magnum bolt face.
Oh, it's a Magnum.
Well, you can swap the bolt face out, but it's still a long action.
Yeah.
So it needs a long action mag.
No, make it in something big.
300 PRC, 26 Nosler, 7mm punchy. Well, actually, well, just looking, I don't know where he got it from, but Ross got an order sheet for a company called RCC Brass.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, and they can make your brass, like minimum order of 100, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But we could actually get 7mm punchy brass stamped with 7mm punchy
Oh, yeah.
on the back, so you don't have to buy brass and form it
Yeah.
for 7mm punchy. So and then it'll just be an off the shelf, you just buy brass, and
Yeah.
if it comes through at the right price, and if we can get it into Australia without too much
Oh,
fire.
it's a US company.
Yeah, US company, yeah. But that's got the Leupold VX3 LRP on it. They have stock production of this scope. The replacement is the Mark III. Well, they don't do them in a front focal yet. And they do an 8 to 24. This is a 6.5 to 25, so it's got a bit more grunt, a bit more variability, and it's zero stop, and it's mil, and this one's front focal.
Yeah.
So, but we actually got Nye to make 2 of these for us, because they're not a production thing anymore. You can't buy them anymore. But I was able to get Nye to make 2, so I've got this guy. There's one on this rifle, and there's one on the shelf. So if you do want an LRP, if you're into your long range shooting and you want something that's got good optics but all the features that you need for long range shooting, the last LRP that we've got here, once that's gone, it's gone. But it offers the best value for that sort of around $2,000 mark.
What is, so what they replaced it with?
Yeah, the Mark
Mark
III.
3.
Yeah.
Has that got the same features in it?
Except front focal. No, yeah, except front focal.
Yeah.
You can get it in mil with a mil reticle,
Yeah.
but different powers. 3 to 18,
Oh, yeah.
what, 3 to 9? No, yeah, 3 to 9, 6 to 18, 8 to 24.
So 3.
Yeah, 3 times magnification instead of.
They're quite good value for what they are, but I'd want to see one first.
8.5 to 24. No, that's it's the same magnification
Yeah.
variability,
Yeah.
just 8 to 24 instead of 8.5 to 24. But it'll still be, the same build quality and everything. They just don't do it in a front focal.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid idea. I wonder if you'd be able to get it, if you'd be able to buy a Mark III and then get it put through the custom shop and turned into a front focal.
Probably.
You kind of hope so.
They'll do everything, yeah.
I've got a Mark IV there, which is second focal.
Yeah.
I think the whole tube, I think you need I think you need a front focal tube to be able to make it front focal. Like this one's front focal because they had a front focal tube.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the way things attach inside is different. Because you have to have the reticle before the power selector, as opposed to after.
Yeah.
So the way the erector system would fit would be different.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, we won't pull
That's
one apart and find out anyway.
another interesting gun that we're all allowed to have. This one actually got fitted with a laser. We had a laser fitted inside the forend, and it was screwed through the side there, and there was a red laser in there. Because he's a wog. Because the guy who owns it's a wog. No, he liked being able to just push a button, see where the gun's pointing, put it on whatever he wants to shoot at, and then look through the scope.
Finished lining it up, yeah. Yeah, well, it was like used as a designator or a locator, whatever you like to call it. Designator.
Yeah.
Designate the target, then look through the scope.
Yeah.
You're pretty well on it,
Yeah. Yeah. And I made that muzzle brake for him, and it was a complicated piece of shit to make. Oh, it was fucking complicated. It's got it's round but tapered, and then I had to mill the slots in on a different tape. Oh, it was just a pain in the ass. But that's what I do. I do lots of custom shit for people. So yeah.
What else have you spoken about then?
Yeah, I've spoken about those two.
Well, there's that CMC on the shelf as well.
No, it's already locked up.
Yeah.
We're putting that up for it, so.
Yeah, there's an ad going up sometime.
Yeah. We're still working on a quick attach system so you're not allowed to have a folding stock on a rifle. But you're not. So, but you can have a detachable stock, so you can take the stock off. Because all stocks come on and off. Like this one, only there's 2 screws, comes off. These ones, there's 1 screw and the butt comes off. So the problem is because we've got these big long rifles now, you need to be able to get them in your safe. Now folding stock would make that really easy. You just fold it around and it'll go in your safe. Not a problem. And they're still big and long and heavy, and so they're not concealable. There's no argument they're concealable. But you're not allowed to have them. So, but that screw will take the buttstock off, but it's a pain in the ass to get to. So what I'm going to make is a fixed screw that comes through here with a notch on it. This butt will then slide over it, and it'll have a cam that actually locks the butt on. So you use it, and then you just lift the cam, and then just pull the buttstock straight off. So quick detach, lift the cam, bang, buttstock comes off. And then I'll make a lug on the side of the gun, so you get the buttstock, and then put it on the side of the gun, and then latch it onto the side of the gun. Hasn't folded around onto the stock, it's just attached to the side of the stock.
Yeah.
And then you can put it away, and then when you get it out, you detach it off there, and you put it back on the back of the stock, and
Clip it on,
And it-
much like the rear stock on those. Was it those? No, the MD2 stock was removable with a lever.
oh yeah, the TAC 21 chassis.
TAC 21.
Yeah, I've got a 338 in there, but I just put a bolt through it. I didn't.
Yeah.
It's normally got a throw lever, but that one actually fucked out because they're alley and shit, you know. So this one will be all steel, stainless steel.
But otherwise, there's no other way to get a gun like that in your safe if you've got more than a 28-inch barrel.
You cut a hole on the top.
Yeah, and I mean, some lockaway safes have a little gap on the side, but
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Hunt Pro safes with an external box
Yeah.
for my ammo.
So
I can't fit a big gun in that.
sometimes you'll have to work around it, and plenty of people do, but it'd be easier if you could take the butt off.
Yeah.
So hopefully this works, because I'm making one for Trent, because I know Trent was going to have trouble getting it in his safe. And now that I've started making one, Ross wants one. I haven't even made one yet, and Ross wants me to make one for him.
Yeah.
But after that, I might get bored.
No.
I'll give the design to someone else. I'll patent it and give it to someone else.
License it out.
Under license. I'll give it to you, and you can make it. No, I've got most of the design in the CNC,
Right.
so I could just make them on the CNC. So just got a low bar in there, and then just push the button.
Hopefully.
and then hopefully something comes out.
Yeah, it doesn't go bang.
Yeah, tools come out. So that's about it. I think next week, actually, that's probably a good idea. Is next week talk about tooling, because this week more than probably any other week that I've ever had, I've had a lot of people this week ask me about gunsmithing. How do you get into gunsmithing? And it's not an easy answer in WA because it's not legal. Like, if you're a mechanic, you can work under another mechanic's license as an apprentice, but you can't do that with gunsmithing. Someone can't work under I can't have an apprentice work under my license on guns. That's not permitted. Now, the police aren't hard and fast on it. Like, you know, we've been quite open the fact that we've had a couple of apprentices working here under our guidance, and we haven't gotten in the shit for it. Not to say that we never would, and not to say that the legislation allows for it. The legislation should allow for it, especially if you want to mitigate people doing the wrong thing because they haven't got the right training and experience. And so I have been asked a lot this week about gunsmithing, and it's quite legal. No, I'm not going to give you any legal advice because that's not my profession. You really need to be a legal practitioner to give people legal advice. So I'm not going to say what you can and can't do yourself. But I think a lot of people will be interested in exactly what tools we use to do gunsmithing, especially the hand tools and stuff. Because people obviously know that we've got mills and lathes and that sort of shit. And I can talk about the tooling, you know, the Kyocera and the Gehrig tooling and that sort of stuff and why we use it. But like your hand files. Hand files. You know, your hand files, your checkering files, your screw slot files, all that sort of stuff. Your vice, you know, why have you got all the tooling you have? And how do you do certain things?
Because you run across a job that needs to be turned out professionally, you need the proper tools to do it.
And that's probably a big part of what we do. I would have to say that nearly every second job I do, I have to make a tool of some sort to do the job.
Or a fixture or something.
Yeah. I mean, even that nut that I made today, I then had to made a spanner to do the nut up. So it could be fitted to the gun properly without fucking it up. You know, so there's all those sorts of things as well. So learning how to make tooling to do jobs as well, I think is really important as well.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, tool making is a proper profession.
Try,
you know,
Daniel Repicoli was a tool maker. I don't know if he still is, but I know that when I was shooting at Brisbane Nationals, so it must have been 2002. So I would have been 17, he would have been 19, 20, and he was working as a tool maker then. So, because that's a real finicky fucking job, isn't it? So he must have an eye on him. Well, we know he's got a good eye.
He's got a good eye.
He's a bloody one of the best shots in Australia. Because I remember back in Brizzy, him and Pat, another junior, I'm pretty sure he was from Brizzy or New South Wales. Him and Daniel were competing in the adult class and cleaning up a lot of the adults. So they were in the finals.
That's right. I remember Daniel was in the finals in Penrith and Blacktown.
Yeah, in Blacktown he was, That was when he got up. He won one of the junior events. And he got up, and this Daniel's 6'5" or 6 or something. Big guy. And he got up on the number one podium, you know, he got his medal, stood up on the number one podium, and Ben from Brizzy and Aaron Ryder dacked him in front of everyone. And it seemed like it took him half an hour to bend down and pull his undies up because they fucking dacked him. And I don't think anyone's laughed as hard as that day. That was quite funny. It's quite hilarious. We got up to some mischief when we were juniors.
Fancy that.
Cool. That's it.
Oh, gee, better put me trees
Put
away.
the treasures away.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, guys. Hopefully Trent is back next week and we can get back to some normality around here because I know we're really behind on our paperwork and that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, it's only been Ross has been doing the lion's share of the work this week, which is.
Well, what about me?
I don't think anyone would have known whether you were here or not. Bill. You leave. You often leave for quite. What? Why is it just a stick? Why isn't there some spoon or something on the end?
Because this is the cheap version.
Right.
This is when the army couldn't get enough money out of the government. It wasn't a war.
They couldn't get enough money out of the government to get some bloke to heat that thing up and hit it with a hammer to fucking make it turn into a spoon.
That's the original style from early 1900s, and it's got a little oil bottle and a spoon, and you just dribble the oil out on the rifle, and you'd have a little piece of 4x2 in your pocket, not 4x2 wood, 4x2 cleaning cloth, and you could clean your rifle. Oil it up, make sure it didn't get dirty, so the sergeant major didn't give you the shits.
I always thought it'd be some kind of brush.
No, I know. Actually, yeah, when I pull out all the Morser gear, I'll bring out the Morser cleaning kit, which is rather more complete than the good old British cleaning kit. This is the cleaning kit issued as the brass one. That's a cleaning kit issued to the POMs. We'll have that next week, and we'll have the German one.
All right, we'll have the German one and we'll have some tooling to show people what to look for when you buy tooling.
Yeah. And
Thanks, guys.
Taps and dies.
Enjoy your weekend.
You're right.